G'day. Welcome to a game day vlog. I'm off to Marvel. Yeah, I'm full of shit. Said I wasn't going. Don't know what it is. Is it a sense of obligation? Is it morbid curiosity? Probably a combination of both. Marvel Stadium, eh? The Brisbane Lions, what a team. I'm expecting an absolute flogging tonight. Thursday night. How many are going to be here? Have Carlton supporters called our bluff? I reckon they're full of shit like me. I reckon there's going to be a fair crowd here tonight, over 30,000. Thursday night, school holidays. Brisbane have got a fairly big following here in Melbourne with a Fitzroy connection. Anyway, let's see how this one goes. How good are these? It's my third. Warm, crispy on the outside, lots of sugar, a bit lousy on the jam. Oh, it's soft and moist in the middle. I bought 4, not 6. I should have got 6, but fuck. Anyway, what am I looking forward to tonight from an individual point of view? I'm glad we playing Harry O'Farrell again. I really am. I was afraid he was going to get dropped. I mean, he had a shocker last week. He was hung out to dry. Collingwood isolated him. I'm hoping tonight that he plays on Logan Morris, who I really rate. He's a Werribee boy, very good player. But they're sort of similar height, similar size. Obviously, Morris is a second-year player, premiership player, had a good year. But I think it's a perfect matchup for Harry O'Farrell to go to Logan Morris. He's got the speed to go with him. I mean, Logan's not the quickest player, but he's very, very smart, gets out the back. That's what I want to see. Because if he gets hung out to dry like he did last week against Collingwood, that's poor leadership from our back line. That's poor coaching. So it's got to be a matchup that he can sink his teeth into, and that is Logan Morris tonight. Keep him to 0 goals. That's all he needs to do. That'd be a good night for Harry O'Farrell if he can do that. Anyway, beautiful.
I love my American sports. I'm from Mount Martha, so I try to get down the coast a bit. But I think sometimes when you're injured in rehab, people think you've got more time off, but sometimes you actually end up struggling.
Cotter warming up with the midfield. What a joke. What an absolute joke. So I assume that Ollie Hollands and Orazio Fantasia will be playing on the wings. I mean, who the fuck is Chincotta going to tag? Is it McCluggage? Is it Neil? I mean, does it really matter? Just let him play. What an absolute fizzer. What an absolute fizzer. Not the game, but my game day vlog. It promised so much and delivered so little. I got to my seat and I froze. I shit the bed. I had these big ideas about talking before the game, during the game, quarter time, half time, three-quarter time after the game, walking back to the car. But yeah, I just couldn't speak into the camera with people around me. Like, I just got all sort of anxious and nervous. So I kind of ditched the idea and thought, I'll just add what I've done to the start of this video and then just talk about us and them, because I think this game was a perfect comparison for us. And I didn't leave this game. There was a morbid fascination about last night and an obligation to go, because I said that maybe I wasn't going to go. But I think the biggest positive I got out of last night wasn't us. It was watching Brisbane play. As that game started, I'm watching it going, fuck, they're good. Like, they're good. And I knew they were good, but I haven't seen them play live for such a long time. How physical they are, And when you watch us every week, and we can talk about contested possessions and clearances and think that's a real physical part of the game, which it kind of is, but this physicality of Brisbane is their DNA, and then the skill on the outside. So they can talk about the physicality. They can talk about it, because it's there for us to see. And I saw it in that first quarter. They just cranked it up, their mindset was so strong. They played for each other and they just went bang. Like Cam Rayner just fucking running through people. McCluggage, Dunkley, Lockie Neal, they just bulldozed their way through. But it was more than just that. It was the excitement that was created off the back of that physical presence. And I'm thinking that is the Brisbane Lions DNA. And I didn't necessarily... So they played with that edge and that physicality, but got the skill on the outside. Yeah? And they play for one another. So last week, Collingwood, for me, just played with this spirit and freedom, but it's a little bit different. They've got the skill as well. So I feel like the Collingwood-Brisbane matchup, if it works out that way, it's just going to be an unbelievable finish to the season, if that's the way it pans out. And they were kind of a joy to watch, and they mightn't have even been at their best last night. They were coming off a 5-day break. They've got a massive game against Western Bulldogs next week. And I'm pumping them up here because that's the positive I got out of last night, because we are so poles apart. So you leave just being completely realistic of where we're at. So I'm not angry, because that's all been parked. I'm not frustrated. That's all been parked. I didn't go there last night thinking our skills are going to be good tonight. We're just going to click our fingers. Brisbane Lions are going to bring the heat and the pressure and their physicality, but we're going to stand up and we're just going to move that ball with precision. We're going to be physical as well. I didn't think that was going to happen, because we haven't done that. We don't do that. We don't do it. I wasn't thinking I'm going to go there and see us be really clean below our knees. I wasn't thinking we're going to flick that ball around by hand, okay, with perfect chains of handball, and then execute that ball inside 4. We just don't do it. We rarely do it. So I know that's what we are. But to see a team actually do it, but not just, it's just happened for the Brisbane Lions. They've sort of they've been doing it for a period of time, and you sort of try and analyse them and look at them, and you just know that, you know, they've been around the mark, like previous to last year, winning that grand final, the year before playing in a grand final against Collingwood and falling agonisingly short. But before that, they've been knocking on the door consistently in the finals, but just off. And they've built a DNA, a formula that works. They've been able to change and adapt to the modern game. Extremely well coached. That's not by Chris Fagan. He obviously drives the culture, but their game style stacks up, and you know, they've drafted well, recruited well. The young blokes they bring in can play with a bit of swagger and a bit of confidence because they know they're going to be protected. They know that their leaders and their teammates have got their back. And they've recruited well. You know, the players they've brought in for a need, and none more so than Josh Dunkley last night, who won the medal, the Robert Walls medal, who's just kind of so unassuming, but so selfless that he just kind of gets under the guard, but he's so consistent and so hard and so physical, but does it in a way which is disciplined and relentless. And they've got each other's back. You could see it all night. And we don't play. I mean, you can question our skills, which are horrible. But I couldn't name one player on our team. One player on our team that plays with a physical edge. Not one. So we can talk about skill execution, the basics, the fundamentals. But if you talk about DNA of a football club, it's got to come down. And you can't just, Voss talks about the contest. It starts at the contest. It starts at clearances. But it's more than that. There's this physicality. There's this mental toughness that the likes of the Brisbane Lions have. And I don't see that. I don't even see it in our older players. And I mean, the perfect example of that last night was Zach Williams, who just in the start of that game, and Cam Rayner is an absolute fucking bull, but can play the game. Like he's got such X factor. He got the ball in the middle of the ground. He just brushed aside Zach Williams like he fucking wasn't even there. And at one end of the ground, you got this Harris Andrews. He just plays with a bit of kind of arrogance, but so super disciplined, and he sticks his knees in and stuff. And then at the other end, you got mopey fucking Jacob Wiedering, and just floats around. Yeah. So that was the biggest thing I got out of last night, other than the fact that they were just a well-oiled machine defensively and offensively. And they kind of did it in a canter, which was expected as well. They didn't have to exert themselves in that last quarter. They could kind of go into self-preservation mode, knowing they're coming off that 5-day break. They'd lost a player in Noah Ainsworth with a season-ending injury. He was super when he was on the ground, and they were thinking kind of about the Western Bulldogs next week and what a big game that is for them, and that's what they've got look forward to. And what have we got look forward to? Well, who knows? Who knows? Because it's very difficult when a team is so poor that it's kind of impossible to even have any positivity about the future. Now, you can sit there and say, yeah, I'm optimistic about the future. I hope it's going to get better, and that's okay. But be very careful at the moment with 6 games to go, and it being like this week in, week out. And I'm not saying the effort wasn't there last night, because I feel like we actually did try, but that probably just makes it even worse, doesn't it? The fact that we actually brought some effort and some intensity, but we were just completely blown off the park. blown off the park. But be very careful. Well, I am anyway, because I'm not in the camp of going, let's just play the kids. Let's just play the kids. Let's just play the kids. Let's just play and just fucking broken record. Because they're well off the pace. And it's more than just being well off the pace. And I'll give you an example. Logan Morris, who I mentioned in the at the start of the vlog, he's a second-year player, and he's a very good talent, like a very good talent. But he's not I don't know if he's a superstar. It's hard to know. When you walk into a football club like the Brisbane Lions and you're a first-year player, and he didn't come into that team straight away. He got his opportunity because there were some injuries, but he came into a team that's got one, strong leadership, a team that's got a really strong system and a selfless system. And he came into a team which they share, that they share. It's not about any one individual, but he came into a team that had his back and that could protect him. And if you remember back to that final last year when they were kicking our ass early in that game, it was Logan Morris that was giving the lip in that early in that game and throwing his weight around. You know why? Because he knows he can, because he's got the protection of his teammates. And we're throwing in fucking Matthew Carroll, we're throwing in Harry O'Farrell, we're throwing in Cooper Lord, we're throwing in fucking all these sort of young players because we think it's okay, we think we need to do it. Now, maybe we don't have a choice, but they are miles off the pace, and they're miles off the pace because they're coming into a system which is a system and method and environment. And don't talk to me like I hear what the club is saying, that behind the four walls at training the environment's great. But once you cross that white line, it's a completely different story. It's a completely different story to what is happening at training, what is happening in meetings in the auditorium and all that type of stuff. Once they cross the white line, it is completely fucking different. It's a jungle. It's a war out there, and these kids, they've got no protection. And now they are copping an absolute hiding, and Matthew Carroll last night was a perfect example of that. So I'm not here to pot the kids, but please be very careful about, one, pumping our kids up, pumping them up too much, because we don't have a great record at the moment. Well, it seems like we don't have a great record of one, being able to recruit the right players with the right skill set. That's questionable, but the biggest question is we don't have a track record of developing them. And it's more than just developing them behind the scenes, it's developing them within the team as well, because do we have great leadership on the ground? Who are they learning off? Anyway, I'm going to leave it at that. Disposal efficiency, shocking last night. Win contested possession and clearances, big deal. 69% to 76. Execution skill. To hear Michael Voss say that potentially they neglected that part of the basics, the skill, execution, during the pre-season, because they were focused more on other aspects of the phase, was quite damning. Yeah, where does that, I don't even know where it leaves us, other than the fact that changes will be made, and we kind of go on to seeing what happens over the course of the next 6 weeks. We've got Melbourne next week on a Saturday night, but this was just another really good reminder of how far away this team is. And I'm not going to sit here and say it can turn around quickly, because not on the back of what we've seen. it's going to turn around quickly. Anyway, take care. Speak soon.